Hello, good evening, televiewers. Welcome to another edition of Prime on My Media Prime TV. We all are aware of the outing of our traditional rulers who met in Yaoundé, the nation's political capital, to endorse the candidacy of President Paul Biya for the 2025 presidential elections. A day after, we also saw the imams from the North, Far North, and Adamawa regions converging on Yaoundé to do the same like traditional rulers did a day before, declaring their unflinching support to President Paul Biya to stand the presidential elections that are going to be holding in Cameroon in October. That is going to be our first topic for tonight. After which we also are going to be looking at another declaration by Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, who has declared to stand for presidency this year. We're going to be discussing with him, since he's one of our panelists tonight, to tell us the motives behind this declaration and what he has for Cameroonians. It's true that he's taken by surprise, not knowing that we're going to talk about him. We are glad to have you, Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel.
Good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening to my fellow panelists. Good evening to Cameroonians at home and abroad. Also
with us this evening is a representative of the CPDM party, who is with me, Mr. Salah.
Salut Sule.
Yes, Sule, who is sitting in for the CPDM party. Good evening. We're glad to have you.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Kum. Good evening for all the militants of the CPDM, and good evening for all the million of your
televiewers. Okay.
Yes.
And we are expecting Apostle Dr. Ambe Valentine Ngwa. He just wrote to me that his car has a problem. We hope he gets it fixed and join us in the course of the program. We'll start with you, Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, who is the national president for the Reform Party. You saw what happened in Yaoundé, the declaration of traditional rulers that took place in Yaoundé, and I will read some of the paragraphs there. I say, in recognition of this constant concern by the President of the Republic, the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Cameroon, after thorough assessment of political atmosphere in Cameroon, have decided to give their full and unflinching support to the candidacy of His Excellency Paul Biya in the forthcoming presidential elections. Your first reaction when you got this news from Yaoundé?
Well, I wasn't surprised, because it is customary for chiefs on the occasion of elections to receive envelopes from the administration. So we all know that they tell us, whoever brings anything, take it and eat, but on the day of election, vote your heart. So this is an exercise that has been going on for as long as voting has been taking place in this country. I'm not surprised at all. I know that it is in line with this tradition that the chiefs have gone to take their envelopes and say what the people want to hear them say. But I'm very confident that back home they will tell their people on the day of election to vote their hearts.
Yeah, but when you say they are going to tell their people what to vote their heart, they came out and made a public statement. Is that not already an information that is passed on to the people that we are endorsing the President of the Republic, because they have given good reasons why they are endorsing the President?
Yeah, Mr. Kum,
this message is already going to so many persons. They may not even have the time to meet the population to give this instruction. That
yes, you see, if you remember very well, what happened to a certain pastor who took his courage to tell his congregation not to toe the line of the priests. You saw what happened. His Christians abandoned him, and I don't want to be a prophet of doom, because if any chief who has taken his money from Yaoundé dares to say that, to repeat that rhetoric in his village, I don't want to imagine what the population will do to him, because people don't want to hear that type of thing. And if they want to take the courage, okay, let them go down, because now like this, the people want change. The priests did not speak from above the clouds. They live with the people and they know what the people want. So I said, customarily, we know that the chiefs always collect and tell the people, vote your heart. But if they want to dare to go down to say, okay, vote for President Biya, well, then let them stand and then defend their choice, and we see what reaction they're going to get from the population. We are in a democracy, and I think that in the democracy, everybody has a right to make his choice. But in this present circumstance, all the children who are going to Lampedusa to go and die there in search for greener pasture, they are from villages with chiefs. How many of these chiefs have ever given them a dime to say, instead of you going to Lampedusa, please go cultivate the earth? People are feeling the pinch, sir. The suffocating taxation that it's raging through the society today. Who is the chief who has asked the government to reduce the taxes? Now they came up with rice. They say rice can be sold for 15,000 instead of 33,000. But we've seen that rice is being sold in a very discriminatory manner, only in certain regions of the country. Who is the chief who has stood up to say, please send some rice to my own place, to my own village, let my own people also eat? So you see, this is a self-serving rhetoric. It only serves the chiefs themselves. They want to eat. Let them eat, but they should not try to sell, to market that rhetoric, because I don't think any person will buy it.
Okay, you don't think anybody is going to buy it. How did you react when you saw this communique that was signed by the chiefs endorsing the candidacy of President Paul Biya?
Yes, Mr. Kum. First and foremost, I want to make people well sure to know something. We can remember when President Paul Biya accessed to the power in 1982.
Yeah.
Many months after, in 1983 now, the traditional rules took him up and give you the power, the chief of the chief, the fund of the fund. Today, Paul Biya received the returning of what he is due in 1983. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And in this case, we don't have a problem of money. Do you understand me, Mr. Lawyer?
You mean that they were not paid?
There is no problem on the layer. You said that people have to choose to take their choice over. In politics, when you take your choice, you chose somebody to work behind you. Monsieur Kum, je reviens maintenant pour dire que, rappelons-nous que quand le président Paul Biya arrivait au pouvoir le 6 novembre 1982, quelques mois plus tard en 1983, les chefs traditionnels se sont réunis sur l'étendue du territoire. Ils l'ont nommé le Nomgi. Biya, Paul Biya est devenu le nom, donc le chef des chefs. Et aujourd'hui, il reçoit un retour d'ascenseur de ce chef là qui lui demande qu'après avoir écouté son adresse à la nation le 31 décembre, ils ont fait un bilan. Ils ont compris beaucoup de choses. Ils demandent à Paul Biya de rectifier un certain nombre de dysfonctionnements qui ont freiné le développement de ce pays et qui ont causé des préjudices au profit de la population. Voilà pourquoi les chefs traditionnels aujourd'hui se sont réunis pour demander à son excellence Paul Biya d'être candidat en 2025. Et comme c'est la tradition, parce qu'il faut le dire, Monsieur Achou, que Paul Biya, quand les chefs de village pensent, sachant déjà que c'est l'aspiration de pas mal de la population. Il y a quelques semaines de cela, nous avons écouté certains convoquer même le diable pour venir gérer ce pays. Mais nous ne sommes pas là aujourd'hui. Si je vous pose la question à savoir, Monsieur Kum, entre les chefs traditionnels et les religieux, qui sont à même d'être le plus proche de la population? Vous allez me répondre que c'est les chefs traditionnels. Et aujourd'hui, ces chefs traditionnels ont pris déjà position. Et comme nous sommes en démocratie, donc chaque personne est libre de faire son choix. Et aujourd'hui, l'ensemble des chefs traditionnels ont choisi Paul Biya. Il le demande une fois de plus de se représenter aux élections présidentielles de 2025. Voilà le premier jet, ce que je peux dire dans un premier temps, Monsieur Kum.
Oui, mais when they say traditional rulers, are traditional rulers not supposed to be apolitical? Are they not supposed to play the role of our fathers, ready to receive people from all political parties and civil society organizations? When already you endorse a candidate, how do you treat others from other political parties?
On ne peut pas dire que les chefs traditionnels, tu vois, non, ne peuvent pas parler de la politique. C'est idem pour les chefs religieux. Mais ici, un chef traditionnel est libre parce qu'il vote, ainsi que les religieux. Mais, Monsieur Kum, vous savez, vous et moi, que depuis la nuit des temps, depuis les épopées du temps, dans le siècle des Lumières, Platon avait déjà lui-même exclu l'Église de la chose politique. Vous comprenez? Ce n'est pas aujourd'hui que les uns et les autres vont nous démontrer que non, l'Église a son mot à dire dans les affaires politiques. Mais non. Par contre, ceux qui sont tout proches de la population sont les chefs traditionnels. Et aujourd'hui, les chefs traditionnels sont à même de décider, de dire, de donner leur point de vue par rapport à la situation du pays. Je vous dis qu'à travers leur déclaration, ils disent qu'ils ont fait un constat, qu'il y a eu un dysfonctionnement quelque part. Et ce dysfonctionnement a apporté des préjudices à la population. Et maintenant, il demande au chef de l'État, son excellence Paul Biya, mon champion, de venir corriger, de rectifier qu'est-ce qui n'a pas pu marcher. Parce que dans son adresse à la nation le 31 décembre 2024, il s'est posé la question à savoir que nous mettons beaucoup de l'argent dans des projets, mais nous ne voyons pas, tu vois, l'essentiel de ce que cet argent-là a pu faire. C'est pour cela, les chefs traditionnels, dans leur analyse, ça c'est dans leur déclaration, ils demandent une fois de plus à Paul Biya de se représenter pour corriger le tir. Bon, alors, quand les chefs traditionnels ont demandé à Paul Biya de se présenter, mais maintenant il ne reste qu'à ce que le corps électoral soit convoqué pour que tous les Camerounais aillent aux urnes plébisciter mon champion, c'est l'excellence Paul Biya. Et c'est pour cela que je vais vous dire, M. Kum, que les urnes vont bientôt parler. Malgré que nous ayons même 20 candidats aux élections présidentielles, nous, c'est de bonne guerre. Chacun doit se démêler pour avoir un certain nombre de suffrages. Mais nous, déjà, au sein du Rassemblement démocratique du peuple camerounais, nous nous battons depuis la nuit des temps pour remplir le prochain mandat de 2025. Et c'est pour cela, c'est le lieu ici de tirer un coup de chapeau à tous les présidents de section RDPC, OFRDPC et Logis RDPC du travail qui sont en train d'abattre sur les 6 arrondissements de la ville de Douala.
Okay. The posture of endorsing the President of the Republic, is it a traditional posture, an administrative posture, or a political posture? And a traditional rulers?
Politicians?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Kum. Well, I want to say that this is a manifestation of panic, because seeing what the bishops came out with, the CPDM people are actually in panic, and they're trying to leave no stone unturned to make sure that some people at least come back to them. But I think it's an exercise in futility, because no matter what they do, the die is already cast. There's nothing you can do to turn back the hands of the clock. 42 years, I think Cameroonians have had enough. I would personally want President Biya to run so that I can beat him. Because if he's my adversary, I don't see how he will be able to stand the hurricane that will be coming. because look at what is happening in the country. We have touched the bottom. Cameroonians have touched the bottom of the sea. Just show me one sector of our economy that is working. Everything is down. And in that context, you tell us you want to talk about education?
Yes.
Well, before you talk of education, go down to the streets and ask the bike riders, those commercial bike riders, what diplomas they hold. You will see that among them you have people with PhDs, people with master's degrees, and I mean the list of them will have a first degree. So that shows you that the educational system has failed. You are producing people, you are sending people to school who come out to be useless. Because if somebody holds a master's degree and ends up riding a bike, why did he go to school in the first place? So don't even talk about the education, because that one is a failure. We have to revisit the educational system and make sure that we produce people who are oriented towards satisfying the job market in this country, not people who are meant to go work for the white man. So now I don't know what you do when Mr. Donald Trump will start sending back your children. And if the French president and the other European president do the same, where will you keep all these children who have obtained diplomas but have no jobs? I hope you know what is coming. So I think, Mr. Kum, that this is just an exercise in futility. We all know that traditional rulers, in the first place, how many are they? If you want to consider them as an electoral force, how many are they? The second question, who do they represent? In most cases, most of them represent just themselves and their families. I might not even represent their families, because the children and wives we've seen have different opinions.
And the religious.
You want to remember that a prominent political party leader in this country is in the opposition while his wife is in CPDM. You see, talk less of a traditional ruler. Who does he represent? To who is he going to give instructions, voting instructions? Mr. Kum asked a very good question. Now, these are people who are supposed to be apolitical. If they come out now and start making a pronouncement for one political party, whereas the population is looking up to them as the custodians of traditional authority to guide the children, you stand up instead of being a neutral person. You start taking sides. Well, you say this position was taken from their hearts. I want to believe you, but there are some rumors, whether they are founded or not, that some huge envelopes were given to each of them. So I was not there, but the common man knows already that thing was provoked by the thickness of the envelopes that were circulated. So I don't know whether it was true or false, but there's that rumor outside. So if it is true, then it is a self-serving narrative that will not go down in the mass of people. Even if it is not true, what credibility would a chief's position be if what he is saying is against the wish of the people? Of what credibility? Now, they say traditional rulers of Cameroon. I don't know. We have a country that is really divided with zones of insecurity. Are they sure everybody was there?
Yes.
They were all present.
You must know that we have 10 regions.
So they were all present.
And so that all the traditional rulers of 10 regions are there. Are they there?
Yeah, but are they, as the question I ask is, as a traditional ruler, you're not the father of almost everybody?
Everybody. That's the point. They are supposed to be neutral. They are the custodians of traditional authority that they
Everybody in the quarter was already sleeping. Then we just heard fire, fire, only to reach there and it was Bengo telling people,
I have won!
That's how everybody became hot.
It's gonna be hot! Millions! Smart TVs, tricycles, and 4-wheel drive to win by subscribing to an orange bonus bundle on #111*1#, or make an orange money transaction on #150# or via the Max It app.
Orange.
Opinion, because the children suffer and they come to the chief to present to him their sufferings, their problems for solutions. So if you come and take sides and start telling the children to vote for somebody whom everybody knows has failed, what do you think the children will do? Toe the line?
No, Mr. Atu, I cannot concede that. That is not the role of the traditional ruler. What you say now is not the role of the traditional, it's the role of the religious people of the churches.
What is supposed to be the role of the traditional ruler? To take sides, to decide that okay, everybody should endorse one political party.
Yeah, people know that the traditional ruler keep our traditional things.
Yeah, the culture tradition of the village. Yeah.
Ce sont les gardiens des justes et coutumes. Ils ne sont pas là pour faire la paix puisqu'ils sont des êtres humains comme vous et moi.
Oui.
Maintenant, il a la responsabilité de faire un certain nombre de choses. La paix sociale qui doit régner dans son village. Et quand on dit paix sociale, si maintenant la paix sociale se confronte à votre propre intérêt, vous allez faire comment? Voilà pourquoi ce pays-ci ne marche pas, parce que vous prenez très souvent le rôle des autres, vous octroyez à d'autres. Et il y a cacophonie. Et d'ailleurs, c'est ce dysfonctionnement même que les chefs traditionnels ont constaté. Ils se sont dit que bon, non, il est temps pour qu'ils sortent en faisant une déclaration pour demander au Nomgui, le chef des chefs, son excellent Paul Biya, de corriger ce dysfonctionnement. Et je pense que les jours et les mois qui arrivent là, avant les élections présidentielles, il y a des choses qui vont se passer.
Are you saying that the President of the Republic is not aware of the dysfunctionalities, or states in Cameroon that he would require the reminder of traditional rulers to fix what is not going well in the country?
Non, je voudrais dire que Paul Biya n'a demandé rien à personne. Il reçoit actuellement l'ascenseur des actes qu'il a posés. Vous savez, tel que l'a dit tout à l'heure Maître Achou.
Oui.
Je vais dire à Maître Achou que Paris n'a pas été fait en 40 ans. Paris a eu plus de 100 ans pour être ce qu'il est aujourd'hui. Les États-Unis, la même chose. Donnons-nous 100 ans et nous reviendrons sur ce plateau pour faire le bilan de ce que c'est le Cameroun. Donc, c'est pas parce que quelqu'un a passé 42 ans au pouvoir que vous allez dire que 42 ans, c'est beaucoup. Non, c'est peu. C'est peu, monsieur machin. Et vous dites si bien que Trump actuellement est en train de pourchasser les immigrés. Il va les... Parce que Paul Biya, mon champion, l'a dit. Le Cameroun est une terre d'opportunité. Pendant que ceux d'ici partent, il y a ceux de là-bas qui viennent ici. Vous comprenez? Il y a beaucoup d'opportunités. Si déjà un Camerounais se fixe un projet d'1, 2, 3 ans, il épargne 15 à 20 millions de francs. Et il prend ça pour aller donner ça aux agents du Canada parce qu'il va aller chercher une meilleure vie ailleurs. Voilà, Trump est là, Dieu merci, parce que nous encourageons cela. Il faut que Trump les faire comprendre que même étant au Cameroun, avec déjà 15 millions que vous avez épargnés au bout de 2, 3, 4 ans, vous pouvez investir et créer même des emplois ici au Cameroun. Mais comme le Cameroun est devenu une terre brûlée, et vous, de l'opposition, vous encouragez à tout moment que les gens sortent la fuite des cerveaux.
Okay, the question I ask is now, est-ce que le président de la République a besoin d'être rappelé de faire ce qui ne va pas? Est-ce qu'il n'est pas au courant? Est-ce qu'il a besoin des chefs traditionnels pour lui demander d'arranger ce qui ne va pas?
Quand vous dites qu'il a besoin d'un chef traditionnel, est-ce qu'il a demandé à un chef traditionnel de faire une déclaration? Non. Les chefs traditionnels eux-mêmes,
vous avez dit que
dans leur âme et conscience,
vous avez dit que d'ici peu, il y aura des choses qui vont s'améliorer parce que les chefs ont parlé. Est-ce qu'il a
puisque le chef d'État à Tangandji, le ministre a dit que la déclaration des chefs traditionnels ne va pas donner, et il a remis ça ce même 27 à son excellent Paul Biya pour qu'il prenne connaissance de ce qu'ils ont dit.
Oui,
c'est pour cela que je vous dis que dans quelques jours, les chefs L'enseignant a le deuxième salaire le plus alléchant ici au Cameroun. Prenez le salaire de tous les enseignants et catégorisez. Vous allez voir que c'est le meilleur salaire. Et maintenant, qu'est-ce que les enseignants réclament? Les enseignants réclament l'automatisation, tu vois, le statut d'un enseignant, etc. On les a demandé d'attendre que ça va venir petit à petit. Vous savez que nous sommes dans une démocratie au pas de tortue et que nous devions avancer, tu vois, méthodiquement pour que le Cameroun soit aéré. Parce que on dit qui fait vite, fait souvent très mal, mais qui va petit à petit va sûrement. C'est ça, monsieur H, ce que je voulais vous dire. Mais on n'a pas besoin de convoquer le diable ici. Vous comprenez? Bon, regardez deux visions. La vision des évêques et la vision des chefs traditionnels. Et ensuite, la vision des imams. Hein? Qu'est-ce qu'ils ont dit? Chacun a sa vision. Et j'ai été content parce que vous avez si bien dit en disant que nous sommes dans une démocratie et que la déclaration des chefs leur concerne. D'abord, si les chefs commencent déjà à voter mon champion dans les unes, nous savons déjà que les choses vont bien se passer. Et nous comptons remplir les élections présidentielles de 2025.
Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, on whose behalf were these traditional rulers talking? And then, do you also understand the outing of the imams? Because the bishops came out and everybody said, oh, you guys are supposed to talk to God and not get into politics. But we saw the imams also coming to endorse President Paul Biya, yet nobody asked them to stop.
Mr. Kum, the first thing that we have to take note of is that no chief carried out any consultation in his village or his area of command before going to meet the head of state. So none of them can claim to be speaking the people's mind. They consulted nobody. Now, considering the imams, looking at the imams, I note that they didn't go the extra mile of hypocrisy to say that is the imams of the whole country, the imams of the northern regions.
But they are imams. And remember, see the coincidence.
Let me answer.
See the coincidence. I don't know whether it's a coincidence or calculated. All the bishops who came out to ask the president not to go for elections.
Let me answer.
Are bishops from that part of the country, so it's the same. Yeah.
Let me answer. You see, as I was saying, the imams are imams of the northern region where the trouble came from, where the trouble of presidential eligibility came from. The imams of the other regions will not or cannot take that out of stand, because
no, the imam looks like the imam of the northwest and littoral were also part of it.
Please,
yep, they were there.
Please,
they were there.
I don't know whether this is proper, because I have some endorsements. I'm a Muslim, and I have endorsements of certain people. So I consider that a joke, because if an imam gives his endorsement and his followers are aware of that endorsement, then he goes to the air to say, I want you to vote for President Obia. What are the followers going to take? The endorsement that was not interested, or the one that is tainted with interest? Well, I think that it being in panic mode, CPDM came up with something to neutralize the effect of the bishops' outing.
Yeah, but what is the difference between bishops who are asked not to get themselves involved in politics and imams endorsing the president? Same politics.
I said, because they want to take themselves out of the panic zone, the CPDM people got traditional rulers and imams. You remember very well, the president of the National Assembly started this thing in Marwade, gathering imams around him. It's from there that thing came out. It started from Marwa, and from there it spread. Let us go and bring the people together and neutralize the effect of what these bishops have done.
You're accusing the CPDM.
I am not accusing anybody. We
did not see the secretary of the CPDM.
No. I'm talking of the president of National Assembly who had a meeting with the imams of Marwa.
Okay.
That one I saw very well. And he was saying that the bishops were ill-guided. They didn't know what they are saying. People should vote his champion. it is from there now that I don't want to call names. People in the administration decided to invite all the imams and the traditional chiefs to come together and take this stand. Anyway, why are we wasting our time debating? Election day will tell us. Now, you say last year's presidential activity was very positive, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I want you to tell the Cameroonians how positive it was. How many batches of Enam are waiting in the house? How many batches are waiting posting in the house? I think the fourth one is coming out this year. 4 badges waiting. 4. So the presidential activity was positive. Now, the president last year, in 2023, promised that any person who put his hands inside public funds to swindle or do any to treat them otherwise was going to be held accountable. How many were held accountable? If you know of everyone, just give us his name. That is how positive your activities were, right? Good. Stadia were constructed, and Cameroon was being showcased as a country that had the most ultra-modern stadia in Africa. How many of those stadia are football ready? How many? Japoma here, they said, a match was supposed to be played in Japoma. It sparked up a lot of controversy, and they ended up playing that match in Garwa, where the pitch itself could not be sold to any person. I want you to see how positive
you want me to answer
your president. No. Don't answer me here. Only take note of how positive your president's achievements of last year were. A Chinese ship came here offering free medical services, and in 48 hours, more than 10,000 Cameroonians were sleeping in the streets, defying the rain to sleep in the street because they wanted free medical care from that Chinese ship that had up-to-date, top-of-the-art medical equipment. That one showed us that what we have here is not top of the art, and even if it were, it is not accessible to the common man. That is how positive your champion's achievement for last year was. Now, the roads linking our cities, even the Delegate General of Police had to cry when he traveled only from Yaoundé to Mutengene. He had to cry, and your president, your champion, confirmed in his end of year speech that the state of the roads was very bad. So, after 60 how many years of independence, Cameroon can only pride itself of having as a road network 7 meters of tar linking the major cities. I want you to tell Cameroonians how positive your achievements were.
I will give you an answer.
You will tell us how positive. 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, 3 years ago, your champion announced that he was going to construct the Limbe deep sea port. I think that one too was inaugurated, right? We have so you can tell us how positive his achievements of last year were. Akwaya till today, 64 years after independence, to go to Akwaya you have to pass through Nigeria. There's no road linking Akwaya to any part of Cameroon. You see how positive your achievements are. Which one do you want me to cite, and which one should I leave? The heavy taxes, you sitting here making noise like popcorn on the fire. Now, are you aware that people whose monies in the bank, whose accounts have been dormant for 3 years, lose those monies in favor of the state? Are you aware? Are you aware? People whose money, hard-earned money, has been lying in the bank for 3 years. Whether they died and the children are in the process of making next of kin procedures, the state takes over that money. By virtue of which law? That is outright theft. We should not have a state that should steal. It's outright theft. You steal from the poor people. That is bad. You see, that is how positive your reign for 2024 was. Now, For anybody this year to kill his fowl, you have to pay a tax, 250 francs. You want to kill your goat, you pay 1,500. You see? I mean, in the face of all this, why do you continue to tell lies that things are fine? When you and I know that we are living a nightmare, things are not fine. Look at the job market. How many people have jobs? How many? People are suffering. People are suffering. We don't. Okay, electricity. Do we have lights? Today, only today, we've had at least 3 outages. 3. Today. I cannot even walk. Before you want to put on your computer, it goes off. Blackout. Despite all that, things are very fine in the CPDM world of Tonde Tontrunk. Please, it will profit Cameroonians if from time to time you can tell us some truth. We don't need all that. We all know where the pinch is. Okay. Don't tell us that things are fine when we all know things are not fine. It is not by getting the chiefs to clap and say, oh, 10 more mandates, that things will be better. Things are not fine. And the people who are feeling the pinch will soon tell you that language. They will tell you the truth from the ballot box.
Okay. DJ Kum says, I'm watching from Bonaberi. Anye Freedom Ranking says, hello, Mr. Kum. I'm watching from Mile 7 Mancon. Bertrand Admin is watching from Etugebe Yaounde. Tatiana Bay is watching from Boya. Lawi Adrians is watching from Oza. Yaounde R. Zabmo Raisa is watching from Douala Njola. Brenda is watching from Kumba. Chizak is watching from Upper Matazem in Santa. Nadine Cheche is watching from Yaounde. Ricardo Nani is watching from Fundong. Devin Che is watching from Kumba. Shans Kibi Bright is watching from Kumba as usual. Sone Edwin. Okay, good evening to you. Samrich is watching from Gaundere. Stefan Penano is watching from Grand Anga Bonaberi. Takang Valentin Egbe is watching from Manfe Town. Mbi Alain is watching from Yaounde Simbok. Kang Protus says good evening. I'm watching from Bonaberi. Manuel Mbu is watching from Chang. Yes, Mr. Salu Saleh. Yeah. The imams, you said in the beginning that the bishops are supposed to focus on God. How do we understand the outing of the imams themselves? Are they not also supposed to focus on what is happening within the mosque and pray to God? What is the difference?
Bon, la différence ici est que les imams n'ont pas voulu se taire, tout simplement parce que la porte de la jungle était déjà ouverte. Parce que les évêques ont ouvert la jungle, la porte de la jungle. Alors les imams ont jugé nécessaire et très capital de prendre position pour dire aussi ce que eux ils pensaient. Vous comprenez, monsieur Achou? Pour ne pas dire monsieur Kum.
Barista
maintenant, oui, Barista Achou.
Senior Barista Achou.
Donc, maintenant, je voudrais dire ceci à monsieur au Barista Achou. Que Jésus a distribué, a multiplié le pain et le poisson. Ceux qui étaient présents ont mangé et ils se sont rassasiés. Mais ceux qui étaient au quartier n'ont rien reçu. Et le pain est resté, le poisson est resté. Vous comprenez? Quand je prends cette métaphore, c'est pour vous dire que par péché originel, l'homme naît dans le mal et c'est une existence très douloureuse qui l'attend sur terre. Mais la politique vient maintenant à son tour créer, tu vois, les conditions d'amélioration de vie des citoyens. Vous comprenez, monsieur Achou? Donc, quand vous dites que tout pour vous, vous avez cité la litanie d'une liste que vous avez peint tout en noir. J'ai dit non, monsieur Barista Achou. Le Cameroun est une très bonne destination. Le Cameroun regorge des potentialités. Le Cameroun, notre beau pays. Que les gens essaient de patienter. Parce que si nous laissons ce pays, si entre les mains inexpertes, les prédateurs vont vendre ce pays. D'ailleurs, vous êtes sans ignorer qu'une partie de ce pays a été vendue au régime milliardaire Kilimanjaro. Vous comprenez? Et c'est ces prédateurs-là qui sont cachés aujourd'hui derrière pas mal de partis d'opposition pour mettre ce pays à feu et à sang. Et ce n'est pas ça que mon champion veut de ce pays. Il a si bien dit qu'il voudrait être l'homme qui a apporté la démocratie et la prospérité dans ce pays. Et il est sur la bonne voie. Il est en train de cheminer vers l'apothéose. Et quand je parle de l'apothéose, vous savez que ça veut dire que c'est un bilan positif. Pour ne pas dire à ceux qui nous écoutent à la maison que demain, il fera très beau sur la grande route. Si peut-être nous, aujourd'hui, nous ne profitons pas des fruits du travail que son excellent Paul Biya est en train d'abattre dans ce pays, c'est que des siècles plus tard, nous allons vraiment beaucoup le regretter. Parce que, regardez, la commission qui venait même tout à l'heure de rendre sa copie, la commission pour la mémoire du rôle que la France a joué au Cameroun entre 1945 et 1971. Certains ont dit que, il y avait le napalm, on a bombardé, on a mis le napalm un peu partout. Mais non. Mais aujourd'hui, il se trouve que, après enquête, durant 20 mois, que la commission a eu à faire sur le terrain, mais cette histoire de napalm ne sort nulle part. Donc vous voyez comment, quand vous créez le buzz en peignant le Cameroun en noir, certains pensent que c'est eux. Quand vous me demandez d'aller voir les concitoyens qui sont dans la rue, qui sont en train de se battre pour chercher leur pain quotidien, vous pensez que ils pensent ce que vous pensez là? Parce qu'il y a une minorité des gens, surtout de l'opposition, qui font véhiculer ce que vous pensez, ce que vous avez dit sur ce plateau. Donc, je dis, et je reviens sur la métaphore de la multiplicité des pains que Jésus a eu à partager. Ce n'est pas tout le monde qui était satisfait. Vous comprenez? Et la vie est faite ainsi. Je m'en vais sur le deuxième point. Vous avez parlé des sacs de riz que le MINCOMERCE, à travers ses partenaires, est en train de distribuer dans la ville de Douala pour améliorer les conditions de vie des citoyens, M. Achou. Vous ne voulez pas que les citoyens profitent? Non, parce que bientôt, les partis d'opposition, vous allez passer à la caisse. Parce que maintenant, ça vous fait mal quand vous imaginez que les imams, les chefs traditionnels sont passés à la caisse. Mais vous avez les preuves quand vous dites des trucs comme ça? Non, M. Achou. Il faut savoir parler et comprendre.
Okay, mais restons sur la question. My question is, if bishops are supposed not to talk politics, why are imams now endorsing President Paul Biya? Quelle est la différence?
La différence entre
les imams et les évêques?
Tous sont des hommes de Dieu.
Oui.
Il nous revient à nous.
D'autres ne doivent pas dire que n'allez pas aux élections, mais d'autres peuvent dire aller aux élections.
Oui, bon, maintenant, je vous dire que c'est la vision. Nous sommes en démocratie et chacun est libre de donner son point de vue.
Oui.
Mais les imams sont libres maintenant. Les imams sont en train de contredire.
Oui. Si tout le monde est libre, pourquoi est-ce que les évêques ont été demandés de ne plus parler de la politique?
Non, c'est parce que le timing des évêques, les évêques ont attendu à la veille du discours de Paul Biya pour sortir en groupe et dire et avancer je ne sais quoi. Et quelqu'un m'a convoqué le diable là-bas. Vous comprenez? Donc, maintenant les imams, après mûre réflexion, se sont rendus compte que bon, si les évêques ont leur mot à dire, eux aussi ils doivent aussi avoir leur mot à dire, parce que nous sommes tous des êtres humains. Nous sommes dans un pays, dans une république, dans la laïcité. Donc, c'est de leur droit de prendre aussi position. Okay. Et parce que 2025, comme nous le savons tous, vous et moi, M. Kum, 2025 cristallise l'attention des Camerounais.
Okay.
Sur la question de qui sera candidat.
Senior Barrister Achou Emmanuel, the traditional ruler says Cameroon is a complex state which needs an experienced statesman at its helm. The experience, wisdom, patriotism, and foresight of President Paul Biya are undeniable and irrefutable assets and qualities for our country in this increasingly uncertain world. Complexities in Cameroon, the world at large is also in problems, so many problems. Look at what is happening in Goma, Central African Republic, even in Cameroon, which requires somebody with good experience, which means that the chiefs are talking from the standpoint of people with extraordinary wisdom here. So a complex situation that Cameroon finds itself also requires someone with extensive experience and wisdom.
Thank you, Mr. Kum. So let us suppose that let us imagine that Pele, do Nascimento Pele, was still alive. We all know his experience in football. Will you align him? Will you put him in a World Cup team because of his experience at his age? Or take Roger Miller, our big champion, continental champion. Will you make him participate in the next World Cup because of his experience? Will you? Now, you see, what we are saying here, we are very grateful to God that he gave our president long life. This man has served Cameroon almost all his life. He has undeniable experience. But there comes a time when even experience can save you, because he is not a Superman. He is a human being. At 92, he deserves to rest. If you people want to still push him to run, I said earlier, I will gladly welcome him on the political field so as to beat him. I said so, and I'm not joking, because at 92 he can. How many regions can he visit? Let us face the facts. How many? He will call people like you to go and represent him. What do you think? What impact do you think a representative will have on the field? In standing in or sitting in for the rightful person, what impact? So he does not. He is experienced, yes, but he doesn't have the energy to continue running around. And the fact that Mr. Biya has experience doesn't deprive others of experience. I am experienced as well. I started politics in 1985. I'm also experienced. Let me tell you, I'm among the founders of SDF. If you don't, I'm experienced. I have gone through thin and thick in this country's politics. So Mr. Biya is not alone with experience. The people who say you need an experienced person, that is true. But they should be looking at the people who are capable of standing up and conducting state business with energy and clarity and getting success. Not somebody who has served the nation and deserves to rest. You want to still push him to continue a job that you know he cannot finish. Please, we should be serious. Traditional rulers have done their own. Let us see what the population will take. Many of you were saying opposition parties will soon go to
Orange au top pour enflammer les fêtes. Yeah, yeah, avec Orange, ah ouais, ça donne. Oh mais ne fais pas ce qu'Orange nous met bien. Orange est sur le fire, c'était fin d'année. Ne fais pas de jalousie, ne fais pas sorcellerie. Peut-être ces gens que t'en pis en plus ont seulement souscrit au bonus. Dis seulement Dieu merci pour le souffle de vie.
of this country and said, well, enough with complaining, let us solve these problems. Mr. Kum, we are the only people who have stood up to say it is time for us to look for money to start paying off the debts. No other person has said that. We are the only people who have said it is time to grant general amnesty. Let all our children come home, those abroad and those at home who have offended the state. Come, let us sit together and solve our problems and take this nation forward. Your champion is there. He is the one who is instead telling children not to come. You come, they will arrest you. You say there has been a dysfunctionalities. Did the chiefs tell him that he's supposed to allow his children come back home for national healing? Are you ready to release all the prisoners so that people who are in prison because of a judicial system that doesn't function well should go home, and then we sit together and build a better nation. This nation needs refounding. You cannot continue putting new food inside old dishes, old and dirty dishes. That is what you are doing. What you are doing is you are trying to take new food and put inside old and dirty dishes. It cannot work. Nobody can eat that. You prepare a good meal and take it and put inside a dish that has old food. What do you think?
I want to say something, Mr. Barrister Ashu.
Senior barrister, please.
Senior barrister, you have your plot of terrain. So many years ago, people say you are old. They can take now your plot. Is that good? Where is the justice?
You want to assimilate to liken the Cameroon, the nation of Cameroon to somebody.
You are saying that
okay.
My chapter is old.
Let me.
How do you say something like that?
The nation Cameroon does not belong to
somebody. Cameroon is not Mr. Biya's property.
Anita Ndi Babonga is watching from Bali. Nyonga. Good evening to all of you guys watching us from Bali. Christian E is watching from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Good evening. Wanka Solomon is watching us from Bingo. Shufai Obo is watching from Bamboo the Shin in Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Special regards to Senior Barrister Ashu. Abraham is watching from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm watching from Bonaberry. Lionel. Good evening to you, Lionel. And we're talking about the chiefs and the imams who have gone to Yaoundé to say we are endorsing. Do you see these chiefs going back to their respective villages to explain to their population why the president is the best candidate for these presidential elections upcoming?
Tout à fait, monsieur.
Est-ce qu'ils iront voir les villageois?
Les traditionnels vont rentrer respectivement dans leur village chacun pour aller restituer ce qui s'est passé à Yaoundé. Pourquoi est-ce qu'ils ont demandé, ils ont fait une déclaration en demandant à son excellent Paul Biya de se représenter aux élections présidentielles de 2025. C'est tout, ils vont le restituer à leur peuple. Et d'ailleurs, actuellement, je vais vous dire, le chef, le Lamido, le sultan de Maroua, est en train de le faire à l'instant où je vous parle. Il faut comprendre cela. Donc, ce n'est pas des vains mots. Ils ont fait une déclaration. Et le peuple est en train de suivre. Maintenant, il reste à d'autres chefs traditionnels d'aller aussi expliquer ça dans leur village. Vous comprenez, monsieur Achou? Ce n'est pas le théâtre. Le théâtre est fini. C'est le policier qui est en train de lire encore sur la boule de cristal. Hein? Vous imaginez que ceci va se faire? Ça ne peut pas se faire aujourd'hui. Hein? Les urnes vont parler. Et très bientôt.
Oui, mais les urnes vont parler et très bientôt. Les villages sont constitués des gens qui militent dans beaucoup de partis. Il y a l'ADD dans le nord, il y a le parti de Issa Chiloma, Dakole Dassala, Bello Bouba. Oui, tout ce monde-là milite, tout ce monde milite dans ces partis-là. Donc l'imam viendra dit à toute la population pourquoi ils doivent voter le président Paul Biya. C'est ce que vous êtes.
Vous voyez que si je réfléchis bien, je dirais que les évêques ont foutu un bordel dans la République.
Non, nous parlons.
J'arrive.
Oui.
Quand je dis les évêques ont foutu un bordel, bon, si de l'autre côté les imams sont sortis pour contredire les évêques, parce que les imams sont en train de contredire les évêques. Et vous savez, un évêque comme un imam, ils ont tous leur église et leur mosquée. Ils vont battre peut-être campagne, chacun respectivement dans son chapelle. Vous comprenez? Maintenant, revenons dans le cadre de la diversité des partis politiques. Ce n'est que normal. Monsieur Kum, hein, dites-moi, vous savez que nous sommes partis de 25 000 bureaux de vote à plus de 37 700 quelque chose de bureaux de vote aujourd'hui. Donc, cela veut dire, quel est le parti politique qui peut avoir un scrutateur sur le triangle national? Parce qu'avoir déjà un seul scrutateur dans un bureau de vote par rapport à 35 000 bureaux de vote, ça te fait 35 000 personnes. Et il faut compter ça. Multiplier ça par 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
C'est impossible.
C'est impossible.
Mais attendons voir.
Vous voyez que...
Attendons voir.
Non, c'est la vérité, c'est une réalité, c'est des faits. Et c'est sacré, monsieur Barrister Achou. Vous comprenez? Donc, c'est ça la réalité politique.
je veux battre votre champion et vous ne resterez qu'avec vos là.
Nous verrons.
Attendez.
Je ne peux pas dire nous verrons le moment venir. Et nous reviendrons ici, M. Kum, et nous allons faire le bilan des élections présidentielles.
Vous ne pourrez pas, vous ne serez pas avec moi puisque moi je serai à étudier. Donc ça ne sert à rien. Non, vous ne serez pas ici avec moi. Inch'Allah, vous ne serez pas avec moi.
Si vous prenez le pouvoir, je dis vous allez fuir le bas peuple.
Fuir.
Vous voyez les dirigeants que nous voulons avoir demain au Cameroun.
Oh là là.
Vous voyez déjà la mentalité. C'est pour ça que je vous ai dit ici là que c'est des prédateurs ces gens. Ils sont là tapis à l'ombre, ils sont là en train de mijoter, je ne sais quoi. Vous ne pouvez pas vendre ce pays. Et vous ne pouvez pas mettre ce pays à feu et à sang. Et les élections de 2025 vont
restons dans le sujet, s'il vous plaît.
Oui. Les imams ont contredit les évêques. Puis que les évêques ont pris position. Ils ont fait leur analyse en disant que c'est grave, que la famille était partout. C'est de ça qu'il s'agit, M. Barista. Que la famille était partout. Maintenant, les imams sortent aussi, disent que non, que Paul Biya a arrangé la rue de Gandere, Chibati. Ce n'est pas positif. C'est positif, donc c'est un succès. Les imams disent que non. Paul Biya a donné l'argent pour qu'ils aillent à la Mecque. Ce n'est pas positif, c'est positif. Vous comprenez? Donc, il y a des choses qui sont en train d'être faites. Vous comprenez? Tout n'est pas noir, M. Barista Achou. Ce pays, nous l'aimons tous.
Votre sujet,
mais
n'est pas
nous avons des prédateurs au sein de nous et qu'ils veulent gâter ce pays. Maintenant que les imams, quand les imams ont pris position, chacun va faire maintenant ce qu'il va faire en attendant la convocation du corps électoral. Ouais, et puis les jeunes parleront, c'est tout. Puisque vous avez dit que nous sommes en démocratie, bon, on ne peut pas dire que la voix d'un imam ou la voix d'un évêque, tu vois, non, vaut peut-être 100 concitoyens camerounais. Non. Vous avez dit que ça ne vaut que leur propre voix. C'est ce que vous avez dit, M. Barista.
Bien sûr.
Bon. Maintenant, on laisse le bénéfice du doute. Nous laissons le bénéfice du doute. On laisse que le corps électoral soit convoqué. Et quand vous avez dit que vous allez battre mon champion, nous verrons si vous allez arriver à battre mon champion. Ne serait que ma voix 1%. Parce que les îles vont parler.
Okay. My question now is the timing of this outing. We saw the traditional rulers come out and the imams also follow. We are in January. Elections are coming up in October. But the President of the Republic himself has not said he's turning elections. How do you understand this? Because that is what the bishops were told. You guys don't want him to stand. He has not even said he is standing elections. But you say we are endorsing. The president has not said it. How important is what they say? Is it a way to say, even if you were not interested, we, the chiefs, your colleagues, because he is the chief of chiefs, the father of funds, we want you to continue the job?
Mr. Kum, in the past we have seen CPDM caravans go around the country inviting the president to run. It is a justification for him to declare that he is candidate. That we have seen that it is their modus operandi. They have always been doing so. So this time they want it to be that it is the chiefs, the imams who have asked him to run. So he will now say, okay, I have heard you. I will run as candidate because you have asked me to run. That is their modus operandi. And the other one is that you heard what he was saying. Vous voulez mettre ce pays à feu et à sang. Please stop misleading people. Why do you think that any person who doesn't think like you wants to burn the country? Why? Do you see any burning the country in my speech? Why? What you will say of other political parties that cause turmoil in the streets should not be brought to me. Ashu is a straight person. I'm a Republican. I'm clean. I'm clean. You cannot mess me up. You said here that opposition parties will go to collect money. I ask you, have you ever seen me collect money? On the contrary, the government is owing me. SRC is owing me 200 million for the past 17 years that I'm not be able to pay. So, if somebody has to give money to the other, who is it who will give money? Me, I give the money, or they give me money. Let them start by paying my money first. So you see, look, don't mess me up. I am not like people who cause trouble in the streets. I don't have one militant who has ever gone down to the street to say, let us march or let us burn a house. So don't say evil met le pays à feu et à sang. On the contrary, We are Republican, and we ask people to respect, to abide by the law. If your memory is correct, it will tell you that when MRC people wanted to march, I was on this platform and other platforms to tell them, if you march, this is what awaits you. That should tell you that Reform Party is led by a person who has a straight head. We are not criminals, we are not rogues, we are not confucionists. So please respect us when you are talking. Stop mixing us up with people who don't know what they want for this country. Now, the Imams say the road to Tibati has been tarred. Of all the politicians in this country, who has gone down to find out what the real problem behind the Boko Haram insurgency is? Your champion is in power. Can he tell us why there is that Boko Haram insurgency in the north? He cannot. I am a Muslim. Maybe you don't know. I'm a Muslim. If you look at this, this is not fancy.
I am also the Muslim.
I'm a Muslim. So you're not telling me something new. Now, an imam cannot tell me that because a road has been tarred. What has that road that has been tarred got to do with my religion, with the practice of my religion? Is there any place inside the Quran where they say tarring of the road from Tibati to Banyo is
that is
part of our prayers? No, look, you see, we have to keep our heads on our shoulders. The imam should not mix politics with religion. Boko Haram insurgency was caused by brainwashing of our people by extremist sects that came from outside. If these imams who went and are talking this type of trash were serious people, they will tell the president that the better thing to do in this country is to create a complete circle of Islamic education, so that we train our children ourselves and make sure that those children will not be brainwashed by Boko Haram or any other sect that comes from outside. It is that brainwashing that is causing what we are seeing. So, sir, I am just saying this one to make you understand that what the Imam said is not in their own interest, because they leave the cankerworm that is eating up the fabric of the religion and of our society to go talk about things that are not material. If you solve the Boko Haram insurgency, you will have brought peace to the northern regions. What social problem does the Tibati road solve? It doesn't help to solve the security crisis, does it? So, Mr. Kum, you see, people are in panic mode and they think that by carrying out one or two moves, they will stabilize. Unfortunately, your campaign ends just there. After you have done all that, what else is there left for you to do? Nothing. You are telling us to await election day. No, sir. We have not even started. We have not even started. We are just warming up. By the time we start, even you will vote for the Reform Party. I'm telling you.
Why did you take position about this?
You will vote for the Reform Party.
Why?
Because
why do you not want people a benefit of that?
By the time we start campaigning, you will vote for the Reform Party, because you will see in what we are saying, you are very self. You will see yourself in what we are saying. And that's the reason why I don't want to waste my time going for any coalition. You say 37,500 voters. Yes. Who tells you that we can't have that number? Who tells you? You are imagining, eh? Today is not yesterday. Today like this is not yesterday. The times have changed and the dynamics have changed. You have only your eyes to contemplate and cry. You will see.
That's the best.
Inshallah, you will see.
Okay, let me take some messages. So just greet some of you guys watching the program. It's going to be difficult to read out all the messages because there are so many, but I'll greet some of you guys watching us from across Cameroon. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm Digang Nelson, here watching from Yaoundé, Cameroon. Good evening, panelists. I'm Elvis Ravis. I'm watching from Tico. Good evening. I'm enjoying the program from Bonduma. Becky, hello. Mr. Liu, my name is Bula Mercy. I'm watching from Bamenda. Good evening. Elvis watching from Bamenda, my 3. With this, me. Okay. Tor Honest watching from Tarikon Bamenda. Mr. Liu, okay. Good evening, Mr. Kum, and to everyone in the studio. I'm watching from Bonaberi, Douala, Evangelist Lafon Frederick. The program is interesting. Thank you. Good evening to the house. Annie Colette, watching from Yaoundé. Special regards to Senior Barrister Ashu. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Senior Barrister and the other panelists. Njabze David, watching from Sabo Ngari. Hello, Mr. Leo. What a nice program. I'm watching from Jima for Mbatu in Bamenda, Mr. Alo Vincent. Right? Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Randolph, watching from Boya. Greetings to all in the program. Okay, I don't think the chiefs will go back to tell their subjects why Mr. Biya is the best candidate. According to them, it is not in the ideology of the ruling party to be answerable to their subjects. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Job Lobe, watching from Mutengene. I love your program. After the outing of the traditional rulers, the chiefs, what next? Are we expecting other spheres of our society to also come out and endorse the President of the Republic to stand for elections?
Yes, Mr. Kum, that is a good question. C'est l'occasion pour moi de dire sur ce plateau que dans 2 semaines, au plus tard le 15 février 2025, les chefs de communauté, ils sont en train de tenir leur réunion pour appeler son Excellence Paul Biya à se présenter aux élections présidentielles de 2025. Vous voyez que nous sommes partis déjà des chefs traditionnels, des imams, et aujourd'hui nous sommes avec les chefs des communautés. Vous savez que les chefs de communauté contrôlent une masse électorale très, très, très importante. Et M. Koum, c'est aussi pour moi l'occasion, personnellement, de vous dire que je suis l'un des chefs des communautés dans la ville de Douala. Je suis le chef de la communauté musulmane des ressortissants du village Mouko à Douala. Donc, nous nous attelons d'ici le 15 février à déclarer notre motion de soutien à son Excellence Paul Biya. Et que les uns et les autres ne viennent pas nous dire que nous n'avons pas qualité et que nous n'avons pas droit. Nous sommes tous les citoyens de ce pays et nous aimons ce pays et nous voulons que les élections présidentielles ayant notre candidat, son Excellence Paul Biya, de compétir à cette élection et de corriger, de finir avec brio le septennat qu'il a commencé, malgré quelques turbulences qui ont affecté le septennat passé, qui a eu néanmoins un bilan positif que Barista H sur ce plateau est en train de me contredire et peint tout ce qu'il voit en noir. Quand j'ai dit cela, M. Koum, je vais vous dire une chose. J'ai posé la question à savoir pourquoi est-ce que M. Barista H ne voulait pas, a pris position par rapport à la distribution des riz que le Mincomet et son partenaire Avantis est en train de distribuer sur l'ensemble du territoire. Voyez-vous, un sac de riz de 50 kilos qu'on vend à 15 000 francs pour ne serait-ce que alléger la souffrance des Camerounais. Mais nos responsables des partis d'opposition ont pris position. Ils sont même allés dire même que le riz était de mauvaise qualité. Mais dans quel laboratoire, je me pose la question à savoir, dans quel laboratoire ils ont pu mener leur analyse? Puisque eux, ils nous disent que l'ANON n'a aucun laboratoire à ce jour sur l'ensemble du territoire. Et si l'ANON n'a aucun laboratoire, comment eux, ils ont su que le riz était de mauvaise qualité? Par contre, beaucoup de nos concitoyens ont acheté ce riz et ils sont en train de le manger gaillardement. Moi, j'ai mangé ce riz, M. Koum. Et j'espère que vous aussi, vous avez mangé ce riz et qu'il est délicieux. Mais on nous fait comprendre avec cette analyse bidon. Et ensuite, je parlais de cet importateur qui a dressé une liste de je ne sais quoi. Tu vois, non? Il est tapis à l'ombre pour créer le désordre, pour flouer, parce qu'il est en train de voir que tout ce qu'ils ont pensé, ce n'est pas ça qui se passe sur le terrain. Le Mincommerce, qui est le régulateur des prix sur le marché, tu vois, ne peut pas faire concurrence aux commerçants. Et il faut dire que si une société citoyenne comme Adventiste, qui se soucie, tu vois, non, du mal-être des populations, décide de donner de l'argent et de mettre ça à la disposition, et que le Mincommerce utilise ça à bon escient, vous comprenez, en achetant le riz et distribuer et vendre ça moyennant un prix abordant, vous comprenez que cela reste toujours dans le cadre de l'amélioration des conditions de vie de nos citoyens. Vous comprenez, monsieur Barista Achou? Donc, il n'est pas question ici que, parce que vous êtes de l'opposition, vous ne voulez pas que les populations bénéficient eux aussi ce qui vient à leur avantage. Non, il faut accepter. Quand c'est bien, il faut applaudir. Vous savez que la société Aventure ne peut pas sortir et se mettre à distribuer de l'argent. Et cet argent-là, c'est ça qui fait à ce qu'aujourd'hui, on vend un riz de 50 kilos qui, en temps normal, devait revenir à 60 000 ou 54 000. Mais on vend ça à 15 000 francs. Je dis bien à 15 000 francs. Donc, cet importateur véreux qui est tapis à l'ombre, au lieu de se prononcer, parce que mon champion l'a dit, il y a pas mal d'années, que personne ne doit se cacher pour exprimer ses opinions. Pourquoi lui se cache, il écrit les choses, il envoie dans les médias que non, le riz est de mauvaise qualité. C'est pour tromper qui? D'ailleurs, le peuple n'est pas dupe. Et c'est pour cela que nous comptons et nous croyons que les unes parleront en faveur de notre champion, Monsieur Barista Achou.
Okay, ça parlera. Okay, in your favor. Are you guys in the opposition not also scared? Because if we see the mobilization, traditional rulers who are the custodians of culture and tradition of the respective village say, we want President Paul Biya to continue because he has the experience. The imams are coming, and certainly in the days ahead, have we not saying that campaigns have started already indirectly for the President of the Republic, while you guys are doing almost nothing so far?
Mr. Kum, I will not agree with you that we are doing nothing.
Okay.
I am already launching an educative campaign. I will not follow them in this their vain rhetoric. They say the chiefs of Cameroon. But this is preposterous, because the people they present as the chiefs of Cameroon don't even represent 1/3 of the chiefs. Now look,
no,
I have here.
It's a council. It's a council of traditional rulers. So these were representatives of the chiefs. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know whether this
into that council. Yeah.
Can you imagine? The entire Western region was represented by 10 chiefs. Are you sure all the other chiefs gave a mandate to this 10 to go represent them?
They are members of the executive council of the chiefs of the West region.
We have their names here.
Yes.
And it is said they received envelopes. Whether it's true or false, but from what we read from the social media, it looks like some of them are paying already. So you see, it is not nice to pretend. People are suffering, and you, like somebody who takes a knife to put inside somebody's wound, and is turning around asking him, how do you enjoy it? The population is feeling the pinch, and then you come to say that things are fine. Things are fine. And you ask the chiefs to go, well, whatever is going to happen, me, I am not there. I don't live with them. I live in Douala here. If you don't touch Pepe, your hand will go hot. So the people who are going to, like you were saying, they were summoning the devil to come rule Cameroon. We don't want devil to rule Cameroon. Me, I'm a Muslim. I don't deal with the devil. I don't deal with it. I deal with God. I prefer that God should appoint someone to rule, not the devil. But the people who want to go and do whatever they are doing against the interests of the people, they will know that come election day, the people for whom they had no mandate, because no person mandated them. I said earlier, nobody conducted any consultation, because if you conduct a consultation, we shall know. We have people on the ground. They will tell us we have been summoned to the chief's palace for consultation because of support for President Biya. Nobody summoned his population. So how do you think people who never sought the opinion of their population will want to go back to go and tell them about something of which they had no knowledge? When they were going there, they did not tell the people. So why should they come back now from there and come and tell people who sent them in the first place? Are they politicians? They are not. So it is just, as I said, a self-serving narrative. If you give me my thing, I drink, I say, oh God, thank you. Is their way of saying thank you. Because you want to tell me that this people were someone to go to Yaoundé for nothing. They did not drink a cup of something. It is their way of saying thank you. That they say, President, I run.
Yeah, but my question still stands, Senior Barrister. They are taking position for the President of the Republic. You of the opposition, we have not seen people publicly endorsing you in as a community. Are you people not disadvantaged by what is happening?
You want us to publish the communities that support us, that endorse us? I will not do that, because we know in what our community we are living. Let me tell you that some of those imams and chiefs went out of fear. They don't, because they don't want to be seen as people who are opposing the power that be. It is not everybody who went there to say, yes, this is my legitimate position. No. Many of them did not want to be singled out. So I said earlier, I have got endorsements, but I cannot reveal them. Since you think that by going to Yaoundé to go and announce it's an endorsement, let us see who will carry the day. I keep my endorsements secret. Let's see who will carry the day.
No, let me the communication of the electoral codes.
Okay, but when they come public, it is a means of communication and to inspire people. When you keep it close to your chest, how does that help you?
Mr. Kum, you don't inspire people by making endorsements, by making endorsements that are not convincing. If you go out to explain policies to people and give them reason why they should choose you and not choose some other person, you are breaking more ground than the person who make frivolous endorsements. Because now, if you get up, last week I saw one of my senior colleagues get and say, "Oh, I am not of this man's party. I don't belong in any organization with him, but I think that Cameroon should vote him." Then somebody in that forum asked him, "Are you not a Freemason like him? Are you not a Freemason? Then why will you say that you are not in any forum with him?" Of course, being a Freemason like the person is endorsing makes him already a brother. He is asking that people should vote for his brother in their court. So he is interested. So you are coming to tell us that you are endorsing somebody and giving frivolous reasons. Are you not like you are like the people who went to Murphy to say that the price of cocoa in the world market has risen, so they should vote for Pobia? It's the same thing now. What is due? I prefer coming to the people to explain how I intend to bring prosperity to Cameroon. That is what can help you and I. Not making endorsements that you cannot support. You can't sustain them. If I ask you today, 64 years after independence, how many good roads linking our cities do you have? How many? Look at the east. The east, even Kota. The east. They don't even have an airport. Even an airport you don't have. We have Cameroonian land that is in the hands of Nigeria. Nobody cares. And you want us to believe that things are fine. People are suffering. Our people are suffering. Look at even the small businessmen in the quarter. You know how they are harassed by people from commerce, people from the council, people from taxation. You know how many of those will visit them every day? Please, you should have mercy on your population. Your people need some small rest. You cannot squeeze people like you are squeezing a towel and still expect that towel to produce water after I've squeezed it. So, Mr. Kum, I'm not even bothered. Let them continue. You have started with the chiefs and the imams. Call mechanics and taxi drivers. Go to bike riders. Call every aspect of society to support your champion. Let us see whether that will be enough. If you say that you are calling people to come and say, Mr. President will support you, is that development that you are bringing to the people? Is that what will give us light, enough light, so that we stop having blackouts? Is that what will give us good hospitals so that our ministers stop leaving Cameroon to go and get treatment abroad? That is why I think that it is meaningless for me to waste my time bothering about people who go to fill their pockets, satisfy their egos. It is not my concern. My concern is to carry my message to the Cameroonian people and tell them, hey, better days ahead. Give me a support. Better days ahead. I will turn this country around and none of you will recognize it. You cannot say you are talking import substitution when you call foreigners to come and cultivate your land to produce rice, sent to their country and bring it back to Nigeria.
Let's also greet those who are watching us from across Cameroon. Songi is watching from Bafoussam. Good evening to you. Hi, Mr. Kum Patrick from Betua. Please, for the number of senior barrister Ashu. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Enjoy the program from Damukong Bameda. Keep up. It is Shea Aloysius Sente. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Madam Maimuna watching from Bandung. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Daga Brand watching from Yaoundé. Your program is interesting. Mr. watching from Mbufung Balinyonga. Good evening, Mr. Liu. The program today is very interesting. I'm Gilbert watching from Loom. My cheapest watching from Mbufung Bali. Good evening, Mr. Kum. We are watching you here in Pendamboko. We like your program. It's Kudi Emmanuel. Good evening to you, Kudi, Mr. Kudi. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Levi watching from Oku. I love the program. Adu Haruna Garga watching from Bafoussam 1. Greetings to you guys. Kudos. Good evening, Media Prime. My name is Bwa Victor. I'm viewing from Batibo Town. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Kum Oliver watching from Mutengene Jotsi from Bamenda. 2025 elections will not change anything for me in the Northwest. Good evening, Mr. Kum. Job Lobe watching from Mutengene. I love the program. Hi, good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm watching from Tekase, Yaoundé. I was in Tekase on Saturday and Thursday. Good evening, Mr. Liu and the panel. I'm Vista Leslie watching from Yaoundé Center. I want us to look at, very briefly, because we are moving out of time, I want us to look at a candidate who declared last week that he was going to run for presidential elections 2025. His name is Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel, who says he wants to stand for presidency against other candidates. Senior Barrister, why do you want to run this time around for the presidential elections?
Thank you, Mr. Kum. I announced that I will be running for the post of President of Cameroon because it is time for this country to set things right. We need to found a new Cameroon. If you start from the constitution, you see that we are being governed today by 5 constitutions, 5 simultaneously. All of them are being applied. I don't know of any other country that is living in that type of cacophony. It will interest you that even the 1961 constitution is still in application. So we need to toilet these constitutions and come up with something that is sane. Have to come up with something that is sane. You cannot run a country that way. Now, the big problem that we'll be having, our state failed in 1961 because it didn't take off well. Let us sit down together as Cameroonians and do what is right. Fix what went wrong. Then now you come to talk about the well-being of the population. Today, many Cameroonians cannot come back home. So we say, before you think of fixing anything, there has to be a general amnesty. There has to be, we have to clean all those prisons. Let everybody leave the prison except the most dangerous. Clean the place. That way, we have the contribution of every son and daughter to creating the national edifice. Now, we want to come up with an economic policy that will give this country a vibrant economy If I ask you today who is keeping Cameroon's money, nobody will tell me, because no one knows where the money is. We need a central bank, and that central bank has to be the state's bank, the bank's bank, the regulator of the economy, and the executor of the national budget. You see, you cannot continue carrying billions and giving to ministers to manage, and you hope that one day you are going to end misappropriation of public funds. It will never happen. You have to change the modus vivendi of the government. The modus operandi of the government. The ministers are not supposed to manage to touch cash. Let the cash be in the bank. Now you send your expenditure and all that. Tell the people who have won the contracts that they want to pay. Let them go justify that they have supplied, and the bank will pay them. Ministers should not have anything to do with the money. And then now you can start thinking of having your own currency, because you cannot have the type of reserves that Cameroon has. I want to remind you that Cameroon withdrew its reserves from the American Central Bank, and we have all those available. We also have huge mineral deposits that can beef up this reserve. So having a currency is not a problem for Cameroon. We can have our own currency safely. Now, after you had a currency, you now need to shape up the market. Go to the market, you will see that there is no law. There's no law organizing the banking. Our banks are applying whatever they please. Some laws from France that have no ground here. We need a banking law that has to precise how credit has to be obtained and how it has to be refunded. That law should precise that any person who takes a loan, if you mortgage your house, the creditor should not be authorized to sell your house. I know that we have international conventions that make it possible for people to sell people's houses because they're taking loans. We shall find a way out of that. It is a wrong practice. You cannot own somebody's house because he's owing you some small meager amount, which you can get by putting his house on rent. You prefer to take the whole house. That is worth about 100 million francs for a small loan of 10 million. That is injustice. We don't want to see that one. Now, we have to come up with a housing law that has to create new securities by itemizing the types of houses, giving them a value so that the owners of all the types of houses can use their houses as security to obtain loans. That way you bridge the gap between the rich and the poor. Somebody who has his Carabao house can as well go to the bank and get a loan guaranteed by his Carabao house, or somebody who has his mud house can do the same thing. Now when you are done with that, you can now come to the labor market. Labor, where our workers are suffering because you go and negotiate your salary with somebody who tells you take it or leave it. No, sir, we think that we should go back to 1974, bring the labor code that was scrapped, put it back on the table, upgrade it, and scrap this current one, so that worker salaries should be based on academic qualification and experience, not negotiation between a weak worker and a rich employer. So that is what is good. Then we have these people who come from outside with a lot of monies. They bring their workers, all their workers from outside, to come and enforce contracts in Cameroon. Our citizens stand and watch them work in Cameroon, do things in Cameroon which our citizens ought to do. So we are saying that if we win this presidency, any company that is coming to this country must employ 90% of Cameroon workforce, or you go away, leave it. You don't want to employ 90% of Cameroonians in your workforce, leave it. We're not begging you. It must be like that. You will employ 90%. Then those employers who come here to think that Cameroonians are slaves, you ill-treat our children because you think that they work by being their boss. You are a slave master. If any person dares to manhandle any Cameroonian worker, he will be prosecuted, and if he's a foreigner, he will be repatriated. Now, when you say that, you now come to the job market. So many children don't have work. we think that it is possible to employ these children. I want to propose that in the national budget, when you look at our national budget, it looks like a budget for the civil service. That has to end. The state should set aside at least 300 billion to beef up the private sector. We are proposing that 100 billion should be given should be distributed out to youngsters around the country. 1,000 from each region should be given each 10 million francs and a piece of land to carry out agriculture. President Ajo experimented this at Yabasin Camp, and please don't interrupt me. This was experimented.
You're already campaigning for your candidate too now.
This was experimented, and
my question is, why are you? Because there you are giving almost your manifesto. Why fundamentally? Let's look at 3 key aspects why you are running for presidency. Just 3, because we are going to have a special and exclusive program with you.
Thank you, sir. The first point is that things have to be done. We need a country where things are done correctly. You agree with me that in this country, any person who is doing things correctly seems to be coming from a different stratosphere. We want a country. We have to have a country where you are your brother's keeper. Tribalism will not be erected into a rule of governance. Cheating should not be a rule of governance. Injustice should not be a rule of governance. When you go to the courts, I'm ashamed to say that I'm a lawyer. We all see what happens. We need a better system. So I want Cameroon to be the right place. Things should function properly, devoid of corruption, devoid of favoritism, devoid of tribalism. Let things work well.
Okay.
You asked for 3.
Yes.
The first one is that things have to work well. Number 2, you cannot have a country that does not have sound institution. When you talk of the constitution being a ground norm, we have 5 that are governing this country. Please, we have to put all those things together and come up with one good constitution, inside which the rights of all the organs of the state should be defined. We don't want to see a country where voting in the assembly is by show of hands. That is a disgrace in the international community. We want to see a country where, if you look at the constitution, there are only 2 organs instead of 3. The judiciary has been transformed into an authority under the executive. No, sir, it's not correct. We don't want to have a country where you have 2 legal systems but 1 Supreme Court. That is not possible. Each legal system should have its own Supreme Court. We don't want to have a country where you have a constitutional council whose duty is to sit there and do whatever the people who are up tell it to do. I want things to be done correctly.
Okay, you want things to be done correctly. Senior Barrister is already telling you guys that the CPDM has a tough candidate in front of them.
Monsieur Kum, je vais vous dire que Barrister Achou a commencé déjà sa campagne.
Senior Barrister Achou, ça
oui,
fait
senior,
40 ans
oui. Senior, bon, vous êtes déjà vieux, vous devez aussi abandonner, mais c'est votre droit d'être candidat. Je ne vous oblige pas. Il a commencé sa campagne et je pense qu'il va en tenir compte.
Comme vous avez fait ici, hein. Parce que je vous pose des questions, c'est la campagne que vous faites déjà aussi.
Non, je ne fais pas la campagne.
Non,
j'ai dit qu'on attend
êtes en train
la convocation du corps électoral.
Non, vous avez dit que vous allez gagner, vous avez énuméré tout ce que
j'ai dit que
tous les bonnes
choses vont parler.
Alors, c'est les campagnes déjà.
Oui, puisque
c'est les campagnes déjà. Quand
nous avons voté.
Quand on endosse,
les gens. Donc vous êtes sûr que les jeunes vont parler.
Allez-y.
Donc déjà, bon, je vous accorde cela. Monsieur Koum,
oui.
Le Cameroun est un beau pays. Il faut que nous comprenions ce qui va se passer en 2025. Oui, nous ne disons pas que tout va bien. Mais quand même, dire aujourd'hui que tout va mal au Cameroun, c'est être de mauvaise foi. Monsieur Koum, vous comprenez? Donc, nous voulons simplement que les Camerounais comprennent beaucoup de choses. Que Les élections présidentielles de 2025 sont une élection cruciale. Parce que ce que les uns et les autres veulent vendre à la population n'est pas ce que la population est en train de miroiter. Et que une seule personne, fut-il mon champion, son excellence Biya, qui a de l'expérience dans le management, pour avoir fait un certain nombre de choses que nous tous nous avons vues, je demande à la population camerounaise, au peuple camerounais, d'accorder ce septennat au candidat Biya, pour que demain, qu'il fasse beau, et très beau même, sur la grande route. Oui, il y a eu quelques brebis galeuses qui ont faussé l'implémentation du programme que Biya a présenté en 2018, parce qu'il avait été élu sur la base d'un projet de société que vous, le peuple, vous avez accepté. Et je vous demande encore une fois de plus de l'accorder ce septennat pour qu'il puisse corriger un certain nombre de choses, pour que demain nous soyons très bien. Parce que si nous faisons un faux pas, nous remettons ce pays entre les mains des prédateurs, je vous assure que nous allons fuir tout ce pays. Mais comme je ne veux pas convoquer le diable ici, je demande à la population de choisir le meilleur candidat qu'il soit pour l'heure et pour toujours. Son Excellence Biya en 2025. Donc, dire aujourd'hui que...
Est-ce que en face de vous, vous n'avez pas déjà peur des candidats qui se déclarent comme Senior Barrister H. Emmanuel et d'autres, bien d'autres?
Au vu de ce qui se passe, vous voyez-vous, M. Kum, ATP, ACP, qui sont en train de se bagarrer là, ils se mangent entre eux maintenant. Vous voyez, depuis 60 ans dans ce pays, l'opposition, tu vois, ne regarde pas dans la même direction. Comment est-ce qu'il peut se réunir aujourd'hui et nous dire qui viendront nous battre? Quel est le candidat même qui est derrière en face? Nous ne voyons pas de candidat. C'est la bagarre dans tous les cabinets des partis politiques. Il y a ceux qui bagarrent, il y a ceux qui cherchent encore les 300 signatures, il y a ceux qui ne savent même pas comment aller payer même la caution. Tu vois, non? C'est chacun qui entre dans le cafouillage. Parce que dans le cafouillage et la confusion, c'est là où ils vont tromper la population. Vous comprenez? Parce que certains viennent là pour avoir je ne sais quoi. Parce qu'ils se disent que l'ECAM va financer les partis politiques. Mais ils se trompent. Aujourd'hui, les enjeux politiques sont déjà définis à travers les partis qui sont représentés à l'Assemblée nationale et aussi ceux qui sont représentés au Sénat, dans des conseils régionaux et puis dans les municipalités. Vous comprenez? Donc ça veut dire que les enjeux sont déjà là. Et nous savons qui va faire quoi et qui sera qui. Vous comprenez? Donc nous n'avions pas peur. Mais c'est seulement eux. Aujourd'hui, le gouvernement, avec les partenaires et certains partenaires sociaux, concitoyens camerounais, sont en train d'implémenter, tu vois, non, l'initiative de la vente de riz qui se passe un peu partout là. Mais l'opposition ne veut pas ça. Pourquoi? L'opposition ne veut pas que la population profite de ça. Pourquoi? Parce que les derniers rapports nous disent que il y a vraiment de l'affluence pour ceux qui viennent acheter ce sac de riz.
Les déclarations comme ça, est-ce que ça ne vous conforte pas aussi pour démontrer comment la démocratie au Cameroun?
Non, c'est ça qui reconforte même la démocratie. Parce que la démocratie, c'est quoi? C'est l'amélioration des conditions de vie des citoyens. Et c'est dans cette logique-là aujourd'hui que nous sommes. Si on veut parler même du commerce ou des partenaires qui veulent aider, qui aident les concitoyens, qui sont soucieux, tu vois, non, du mal-être de la population et qui accompagnent l'État, tu vois, non, à aider la population. Pourquoi est-ce que ceux de l'opposition prennent position? Et aujourd'hui, ils sont tentés de nous faire de ces analyses des mécanismes métaboliques qu'on ne sait même pas d'où ça vient. C'est des incongruités, monsieur Barrister Achou. Laissons la population jouir. Quand c'est bon, c'est bon. Acceptons, c'est ça, dit la vérité au peuple camerounais.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Mel Boris, writing from Yaoundé Mimboman. Good evening. I'm Kingsley, writing from Tarikon. Good evening, Mr. Kum and the panelists. I'm Fidelis, watching you from Biya. I'm really enjoying the program. Good evening, Mr. Leo. I'm K. Buma Michael, watching from Mile 14. I love the program. Paul, watching from Ekondo Titi. Hi, good evening, Leo. Is Ebesong Felix, watching from Tico. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Madam OK Ostensia, watching from Kribi. I'm enjoying the program. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Is Mr. Joel from Tonga. I love your program. Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel. Some persons are really very worried. It is true you have declared that you want to run for presidency, but Cameroonians also are looking forward to a possible coalition of the opposition, and are also worried at the ferocious nature of the fighting going on amongst members of the opposition.
Well, Mr. Kum, you can testify that there is no fight between Reform Party and anybody.
Okay, you're focused.
We are focused. We said from day one that we are going solo, because from past experience, we've known that coalitions have never gone far in Cameroon politics. We don't want to be diverted by any coalition, any activities that will have to make us lose focus. That is the reason why we took time out to look at the real problems that plague politicking in this country. The first problem is that CPDM covers the entire national territory. To match CPDM, you have to cover the entire national territory. Reform Party, from creation, covered the entire national territory because it's created by 1,000 Cameroonians throughout Cameroon. So we are equal to that one. We match them there. The second one is that you have to have enough resources to carry you to the grassroots. We are not going to beg anybody. We are not begging anybody. We shall get to the grassroots. We are already there. But before it's election day, you will feel our impact. You will see us. You will know that we are not jokers. We have not come to joke. We have come to make Cameroon vibrate like one person. And you will see it. So, if you form a coalition of 100 political parties that have no representation on the ground, of what use is your coalition? Because in the final analysis, it is the population that you control, or the people who sympathize with you, that have to give you the votes. Now, we think that if you have a good program that is sufficiently enticing to the population, and that can serve as a rallying ground for the people, it is better to go solo. In Senegal, people talk of Sonko. Sonko in Senegal did not have any coalition. There were 19 parties that were running. But the people identified his party and said, no, these are the people who can carry the day. And they went there and he carried the day. So since in Cameroon, we have people who are not politicians, who get up because they have smelled the approach of elections.
That the same thing will happen here in Cameroon.
People have smelled the approach of elections. They say, we are running. You don't have one person on the ground. You don't have a political party on the ground. You don't have an ideology. You don't have anything. You don't have a plan of action. But you want to run for president because you can gather journalists, gather people that to whom you give small monies. No, sir, it doesn't work that way. We think that if somebody can do it solo, if you have the means to do it solo, then do it. I have said severally that my colleagues are lazy. I am not lazy. I am ready to work, and I shall work and carry the plan of action of the Reform Party to the grassroots throughout this country, and make sure that every Cameroonian should be able to dream big. Let us see our country becoming big. It is possible for this country to emerge by 2035. It's possible. If you have a party like the Reform Party, if that has a clear-cut plan of action, you can emerge. But a meaningless coalition that will instead tell you that we should go for a transition. Master, that transition, where is the law that provides a transition in this country? Is there a law? There is no law. You cannot ask the people to vote for something that is illegal. There is no law talking about transition. So how can you form a coalition and ask people to vote for you because you are going to come up with a transitional period. Transition to where? What is the legal basis of that transition? You see, so we think that the right thing to do.
Do you say that to the CDP or to another party? Say that to them, not.
I am talking to people who are talking coalition, sir. I don't know why you feel concerned, but you should normally feel concerned because most of those people are your satellites. They are satellite members, so that's why you should feel concerned because they are satellite people. And we are saying that we cannot go into coalition with any satellite of the CPDM because by the time they see that we are succeeding, they will split the whole thing and we shall go back to square one. That is the reason why we think that it is imperative for the politicians in Cameroon, politicians of the opposition in Cameroon, to be courageous. Go down to the field and walk. Contact the people. There is no division or no subdivision or no town or no village that belongs to any particular individual. We are all Cameroonians. We have the right to reach every nook and cranny of this country. Let us do just that and see and seek the support of the people. I think that if that is done, we can carry the day. We don't need a coalition of people who represent no one on the ground. So if you come with a coalition, you have 300 political parties with no representation. You are not better than Reform Party that has coordinators and militants throughout the national territory, and that is working day and night to make sure that it has a full grip of the population.
Okay, full grip of the population. Do you have what it takes to have this representation across all 10 regions of the country?
We are present already in the 10 regions. We are present, and I say before even it will be 3 months to election date, you shall feel our presence. You shall feel the grip. You shall see it yourself. I'm not joking. I am just telling you that you will feel our grip. And these people who think that who call themselves Democrats, they will be the ones fighting us to say, no, we don't want you to shake the country like this. You shall feel our grip because we shall make Cameroonians vibrate like one person. In using like one person.
We are waiting, we shall see.
You yourself will join us. Don't bother yourself.
Okay, we have come to the end of tonight's edition of the program. Mr. Salus Saleh, representing the CPDM party on this platform, thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for this debate, Mr. Kum. C'est un plaisir pour moi d'être présent et je serai toujours avec vous.
Okay, thank you too, Senior Barrister Ashu Emmanuel.
Thank you, Mr. Kum, for giving us the opportunity to talk to Cameroonians and tell them that it is time to see your dreams of having a better Cameroon come true. Just have confidence in Senior Barrister and you will see that dream come true.
Okay, we also want to thank you all for watching the program. If you have some suggestions to make, please write to me. If you want to advertise with My Media Prime TV, please do well to also write to me and see how we can partner with you and grow your corporations as well as any service or goods you are selling. Thank you to you, Desmond and Eli, for production, Tabi Tembe-Brian for supervision. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.
Everybody in the quarter was already sleeping. Then we just heard fire, fire, only to reach there and it was Gengo telling people,
I have won!
That's how everybody became hot.
It's gonna be hot! Millions! Smart TVs, tricycles, and 4-wheel drive to win by subscribing to an orange bonus bundle on #111*1# or make an orange money transaction on #150# or Biya to Max It app.
Orange.